Hey movie lovers, I'm Alan.
And I'm Oliver.
Welcome to Real Movie Grade.
Today we're going to do the Real Movie Grade category breakdown of Breaking In.
So Breaking In, this is the category breakdown. It will have spoilers in it, so if you have not seen the movie, go ahead and click on the iCard above for our just straight review of the movie.
So Breaking In, Gabrielle Union. She is a mom who picks up a house in a very, very big ranch house in the middle of nowhere that is being robbed by criminals.
Not in the middle of nowhere. It's next to a beautiful lake.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
Yeah. She picks up a very big, big ranch house.
Yeah, and as her and her kids walk into the house, there are thieves already there, and they want to steal the money, but it turns out that having family there complicates things. It
does. Well, that takes us to the first category, which was script, screenplay. I hit it hard. I gave it a 0 in this category because the script itself was unoriginal. It was small. Mm-hmm. A lot of the things that were written were done so poorly. One of them being the stereotype MS-13 gangster. So
that was terrible.
Part of that comes in later, whenever under design or under performance, but part of it is definitely written into the script.
Yeah. We'll get there when we get there. But yeah, I completely agree with you. The characters were written very typecast stereotypes with no depth to them at all. Even Gabrielle Union's character had very little depth.
She did, and that's what.
Like the hero you would expect to have some depth,
and there was little explanation for things written into this. So we know her dad was a bad guy. Mm-hmm. We know he somehow nefariously got his money, maybe, or maybe not. But they never explained that.
Yeah.
They don't really. Who killed her dad?
One
of them is the guy that whoever's Dodge truck that was the guy that hit her dad. So that was intentional, but we never. They suggested that, but they never revealed that later.
Yeah.
I think honestly the best writing was the few lines that the kids had.
Yes, agreed. Basically, the scenes with the kids in it were the best scenes as far as acting is concerned, and lines.
Yeah.
That goes up to pace timing. There were a lot of scenes because the movie is so action oriented. There wasn't a lot of talking. So most of your scenes were driven by you watching people do things. Even then, there was a lot of times where I was like, all right, come on, let's hurry it up. We can move forward. Never to the point where I was annoyed. It wasn't as bad as like something like Assassin's Creed. But there were times where I was like, oh, okay.
We have to pick different movies to on.
Yeah. It's like the bar for like bad pacing. Let's go back to
well, I want to stick on pace time for a second because I actually disagree with you on this one.
Okay.
I gave it a 4 because I did feel like, all right, we quickly said, all right, here's mom, here dad's dead, the kids are going up here. This is we quickly said, oh wow, look around to this house, and then we went into what was going on, and that did develop pretty quickly. She dealt with the four. She dealt with the 4 bad guys at a decent enough pace that she killed them, and then we kept it. She dealt with one, and then we were engaged, and then she dealt with another one, and then we were still engaged. So right. I feel like the pace timing was actually pretty good.
Okay, yeah, no, I mean you almost convinced me there. That's pretty good. I didn't consider how well they structured that. Her dealing with one bad guy at a time. I feel like as far as what I was more concerned about was just how I felt in each scene. Each scene seemed to
I got you.
Slog through a little bit.
The only thing that was wrong with the pace timing was the cops were supposed to be there in 90 minutes.
Yes.
No way all that stuff happened in 90 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a 25-acre
Right.
property, and she gets to the edge of it several times.
It takes a while.
And the guy sneaks up to the front gate a bunch of times. Like there's no way all that stuff happened in 90 minutes.
Yes, you don't casually walk 25 acres. Or actually, not casually. You don't stealthily walk 25 acres. Yeah. 25 acres that fast. Casting performance. Let's go back to what you were talking about. Richard Cabral was the one you were talking about. Oh man, could they have done any more of like an offensive Mexican stereotype? It was just like, oh, he's a gang member. He speaks with a thick accent.
See, I thought he was a stereotype of an El Salvadorian because he felt like an MS-13 gang member from Training Day to me.
Okay,
he felt like he could have been one of the dudes in the house, and I mean, they're like, yeah, we need a bad guy from prison. grab this guy.
It was bad.
Everything about him, and then not only was he that stereotype, but he also didn't really fit his stereotype completely because the machismo and he was supposed to be like a big tough guy, but when he gets whacked in the back with that pool cue, completely unexpectedly, he has no reaction. I'm sorry, but he's not a big enough.
Yes.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is about the only person that I could believe that would work on.
Right. So here's the other thing is they establish in this movie that everybody's operating in the real world. Nobody's a superhero. Gabrielle Union, her fight scenes, which we'll talk about in a little bit, her fight scenes were great because they felt real. Like, she always felt like she was in danger. She took damage. She got hurt. And the way she fought wasn't like backflip kicks and like ninjutsu. It was her poking a guy's eye out when he wasn't expecting it. Like, that's, yeah. I was like, oh, this is good. This is how you fight. With him, they just made him like, I don't know, like Freddy Krueger almost. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Why is he supernatural when nobody else is?
I liked the kids.
Yeah,
the kids were. I thought both the kids, they did a good job. All the bad guys were stereotypes, and part of that had to do with design, and part of that had to do with their acting. Levy Mendon. He played the young conflicted guy that didn't know if he really wanted to do all this. It was very forced. His conflict for the couple scenes that they try to show his conflict with this whole thing, it felt very forced.
Yeah, definitely a trope. I will say Gabrielle Union, the kids were great. Gabrielle Union, I feel like kind of phoned in some of her dialogue. Her action scenes were great. Her dialogue, I wasn't sold on. I felt like she wasn't trying hard enough. I don't know how you try harder as an actor or an actress, but I don't know. Just that's how it.
All right. I mean, I'd say overall for me, casting was a 3.
Okay. Yeah. It was a 2 for me. And the only reason I gave it the 2 was the kids. The kids were the up.
I thought Gabrielle Union and the kids all did well, but all right, we spent enough time on that. Cinematography. So I gave it a 4 because I thought the cinematography was actually, it was pretty cool. They did a good job of focusing where they wanted us to see something and remember it for later.
Yeah.
What really sticks in my mind is when she took her shoes off. She was stuck running around without that. Then whenever she tied up the bad guy, they zoomed out and you were able to see that his shoes were off because she took his shoes. So they did a lot of good stuff with camera work. And then the fighting, the camera was in the right spot to see what was happening.
They weren't doing the Jason Bourne Transformers thing.
Right.
So for me, one of my big keys for cinematography is, did you show me the story using the camera, and was it legible? Like, could I understand what was going on? And it nailed it on both of those accounts. So yeah, I gave it a 4. I mean, they weren't doing anything spectacular, but they did everything very well in cinematography.
Oh, and I think they didn't do anything. I take that back. 2 times they used slow motion, and it wasn't consistent, and it was like, what? Those 2 times, it was just kind of silly because it wasn't something that they used, a tool that they used regularly throughout it,
right.
And when they did use it, there were things that happened just like that in other scenes that we didn't use it. So those 2 times, it was kind of odd.
And slow motion is more of like a hardcore action movie thing that you get, or like big, like dramatic scene from a drama.
Yeah.
Not something that this movie needed at all. But I don't fault them for using it.
Like what dramatic scene from a drama? Like a slap?
No, like when you're losing, like Wilson floating away.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I was just trying to picture that. Yeah. But yeah, those other than those 2 times, I think the cinematography is very good.
Yeah. Design.
Design. So, one, the bleach blonde M&M hair was an awful choice. I mean that died within sync, right?
Well, I mean, this guy was in prison, right? So maybe he doesn't know.
He was, but I feel like a guy with bleach blonde hair like that would probably be made fun of in prison, right? If you're gonna get made fun of anywhere for looking silly,
Yeah.
So that hair I felt like was bad. For the most part, people's outfits were correct. I thought the house was beautiful and the woods were beautiful.
I thought it was cool that I actually was able to understand the structure of the house from the use of the scenes. Like, they did the scenes enough where you didn't need to see the floor plan, but you understood where you were in the house.
But they showed us the floor plan also.
Yeah, but you understood where you were in the house, and so that was good design. Yeah.
The vehicles, I'm interested in cars and trucks and trains and planes and automobiles. But the vehicles, it kind of bugged me that Gabrielle Union had a brand new Mercedes, and her friend / real estate agent also had one. I understand 2 people might both have the same car from the same car company.
It's branding.
But it's branding, and it bugs me. It is something that, in lower budget movies from other places that don't get the sponsorship, it feels more realistic. So that just, sure, Gabrielle Union has this car, but I doubt her friend has almost, has a similar car from the same year.
All right. That's fair. That's nitpicking in a way. I feel like the directors don't necessarily have a choice there, because they got to work within a budget, and getting a sponsor is a huge deal sometimes.
Well, but in this category, part of design is, do you feel real? Were they able to immerse you in the world?
So maybe the answer,
that kind of thing doesn't go back to James Bond Casino Royale.
Right.
Every single car in the entire movie was of a Ford brand. And I was young when that movie came out, but that always stuck out of my mind. They had Jaguars, they had Land Rovers, they had Fords.
Okay.
Everything was like, no, this whole island, there are other companies here.
Okay.
It takes away from the immersion.
All right. That's fine. I wasn't going to dig in for that. I gave it a 3 for design because I felt like they did the required amount of design work, and the house was very well designed.
Yeah, I agree. I did give it a 4 for design. That was just, it could have been a 5 for me, honestly.
Okay.
Because, when the guy got stabbed and he had a bloody shirt, that stayed consistent.
Yeah.
Like, things, they did pay attention to details in that. Moving on.
Audio. 3. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. I thought it was
out of the gate. I didn't like the no sound except for the music while Dad was running.
Okay.
I don't run with headphones. Maybe you don't hear anything else, but I don't know. I feel like that's something that should have died a long time ago, as far as cinema goes. But that is, from that point on, I liked it. Noises pretty much fit where they were supposed to fit.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoyed it. The music was except it wasn't extremely memorable, but
I wasn't even really considering music, because this being a thriller, sound is important, because you need the sound, like something's behind me. You need to hear that before you see it, kind of stuff.
We had the creaking floors.
And so I thought they did well there.
Yeah.
I thought they executed well enough. So 3. Wow, satisfaction. I mentioned this in the previous video that we did for just the overall review. I feel like this movie is something that if it came on TV while I'm at a hotel, I would just leave it on, because it's good enough to have as entertainment.
I would say overall, yeah, it was enjoyable. It certainly wasn't great. Part of the thing that made the WoW go up into that category for me was the fact that when the kid picked up the gun, he actually shot it. It wasn't effective, but every time you see a horror movie or a thriller, they let the bad guy convince them that okay, they don't have to shoot them.
The kid was cool, man.
Yeah, he was overall, but that helped bring it into the reel for me a little bit more, and it did wow me because you thought that the bad guy was going to grab it from his hand.
Yeah, and he didn't get a chance
because that's what always happens.
Yeah,
so that knocked up the wow for me.
And then genre,
I gave it a 3. I could probably name better movies, and I could definitely name worse movies. In the genre, what genre did you classify?
I call it a thriller.
Yeah, I call it a straight thriller. Also, it certainly wasn't a horror movie. Yeah, it's just a straight thriller.
Yep.
It could have been a mystery if they
had delved into it.
If they had written the script more.
But there was no script.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it was largely action scenes, and so they kept it as a thriller.
Yep.
All right, so if you got an hour and a half to watch a movie, just go ahead and watch Breaking In if you feel like it. Join in the comments below and see how your categories match up to ours. Thanks again for watching. Subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, find us on Facebook and Twitter, and join in the comments below and let us know what you think on how we can improve the Real Movie Grade system.
What are you, an auctioneer? Hey, don't forget to watch the playlist to my left. What is Real Movie Grade? It's going to help you better understand the Real Movie Grade system.
Cool.